What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Playmaker Pod. I'm your host, Isaac. This is Joseph. We're going to get started by getting into yesterday's NBA action. The first game of the night, Knicks versus Celtics. Jason Tatum, pretty inefficient last night. He only had 14 points. The Knicks continue their 6-game winning streak. The Knicks keep rolling. What did you think about this game, Joseph?
I was surprised. The Boston lost by what was it, double digits? It was about 15 points. They lost by 15. Tatum played most of the night. He was just really bad last night. 6 for 18. He's been really bad the last two games. Even the Sixers game on Saturday night, he was pretty bad that game too. They just walked away with a win at the end though. But he's pretty bad that game too. His bad game streak continued today. He got ejected as well. Pretty mad he didn't get a foul call on him. Yeah, but it was probably some payback after he fouled LeBron a couple weeks ago and they didn't call it. He even said it on Twitter. Pretty funny. Derek White too. Derek White was pretty inefficient. 4 for 11. The leading scorer was Malcolm Brogdon, who's my favorite for 6th man of the year right now. 22 points, really good efficiency. 10 for 16 from the field. And New York, Manuel quickly had 23 along with Julius Randle. Both of them were the leading scorers of the team. Julius Randle showing why he's an all-star this year. Brunson had 17. Brunson actually had a pretty bad game. He was 4 for 12. Really an efficient night for him. 0 for 4 from 3. Quinn Grimes. Quinn Grimes is a guy I really like. He didn't get that much shots up today. Only 1 for 3 from 3. 2 for 5 from the field. Mitchell Robinson had a double-double. 10 points, 11 rebounds. I believe he had 2 blocks. And RJ Barrett. Yeah, RJ Barrett had a terrible night as well. I'm probably used to RJ Barrett though. Playing like this. 10 points, 4 for 14. Yeah, pretty bad night for him. Josh Hart's been a nice trade pickup at the deadline for the Knicks. He had 12 points, 5 for 8, 2 for 3, really efficient. He's been a nice scorer for the Knicks off the bench. Yeah, but the Celtics just had a bad night shooting with Jason Tatum. It was just a bad night for them. They didn't have Jaylen Brown as well. Jaylen Brown was out. That could have been another reason why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a bad night overall.
Yeah, Tatum had a bad night, and they didn't have their other best player, Jaylen Brown.
They only put up 94 yesterday. They only put up 94. Yeah. That's a weak performance from Boston. Shout out to New York for keeping their winning streak going, but Boston's got to play better, especially going into the playoffs. Do you think if the Knicks and the Celtics were to play each other, like let's say in the second round of the playoffs, you think Boston might have a bit of issues there, or you think they'll just roll past them still?
No, I think they'll just roll past them. I mean, this is like an outlier type of game.
Yeah. It was just I don't really think the Knicks can keep up the momentum, but when it comes down to it, they're probably going to get destroyed in the first or second round.
Yeah, in this game especially, everybody had a shitty game except for Malcolm Brogdon. Everybody else played like shitty. Horford was fine. He was 5 for 9 from the field, but it still wasn't a great game from him. Everybody else basically played shitty except for Malcolm Brogdon. I don't really expect that to happen in the playoffs if these two teams match up again, especially when if Jaylen Brown's going to be back. I think this is just an outlier night for the Celtics. Nothing really. I'm worried about them.
I expect them to perform once the playoffs come around. I expect Tatum and Brown to perform.
All right.
Shout out to the Knicks, though. Shout out to the Knicks. They're getting the job done. They'll make the playoffs again. You know, I know New York will probably be happy about that. They went super crazy after the 1 year they made the playoffs back in 2021. Even though they lost to Atlanta, the whole city went crazy after they won 1 game. So it'll be a nice little story. You know, I like to see Jalen Brunson finally get his moment or his spotlight away from Luka. As much as I miss him on the Mavs, it's nice to see him be able to be one of the top guys on another team and really get to show why he's one of the best point guards in the NBA.
Yeah, Brunson should have been all-star this year too. He really should have.
Yeah.
I think he deserved it over some of the guys that made it in, but
yeah, it was a big-time snub.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to step back from yesterday's action. We're actually going to take a step back into Sunday and talk about the one man who single-handedly took down the entire Houston Rockets and made them look like a G League franchise. sorry to say that, Joseph, but yeah, we're going to talk about Damian Lillard. All right, this man went absolutely insane. I'm gonna pull up the numbers right now, but 71 points really couldn't be stopped last night. I'm gonna let you talk about this one.
All right. Yeah, it was pretty much just Damian Lillard doing Damian Lillard things against the Rockets. Everybody else in Portland really didn't even get a shot attempt because Damian Lillard was doing everything for them.
Mm-hmm.
Only other guy that really gave there was only two other guys in double-digit scoring, and it was Jeremy Grant with 13 and Nasir Little with 11. It was just a Damian Lillard show. The Rockets, this has happened a couple of times to them. They allow 60-point games, 50-point games, 40-point games. They've been doing this all year. They're one of the worst coached teams. They have no defense in this roster. They really have no offense right now either, basically, because Jalen Green's been out the last couple of games after the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys are inefficient. They're all inefficient right now. I don't think you're not gonna know who this guy is. But Daishen Nix is one of the worst players I've ever seen play basketball. He's a point guard for the Rockets. He's a backup. Yeah. He has to play right now because Kevin Porter's has been out of injury, and Jalen Green's been out of injury, so he has to play. He had 16 points, but he took like 25 shots. So it's really not good 16 points. Tyree Eason had an all-right night, but Jabari Smith still can't shoot for shit. 3 for 11 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. 9 points. Pretty bad night for him. Şengün was the only one that was really efficient, but Steven Silas is just dumb, so he just benched him in the fourth quarter for no reason. He just benched him. Jabari Smith was the worst player on the court the whole night, and Jabari Smith didn't get benched at all. But Şengün was the best player, and he got benched in the last 10 minutes of the game. I don't understand that logic, but that's Steven Silas for you. And then Dame Lillard. Yeah, Dame Lillard couldn't miss anything. He just couldn't miss. He was hitting everything. He was 22 for 38. Mostly every shot he took was in. That's why he had 71 points. That was an unbelievable stat line from Damian Lillard. And the Rockets are the worst team in the NBA. Not really new news there. They've been the worst team all season. And they will continue to be the worst team, maybe even next year. More than likely. So, not much to say about the Rockets. Dame Lillard is probably, especially this season, is a top 3 point guard, I believe. I would only put him behind Luka, I think. Steph Curry's been out with injury most of the season. Dame Lillard's been healthy. So I would probably take Damian Lillard. This season, I would take Damian Lillard over Curry this year. Mm-hmm. If Curry played all the whole year, I would also take Curry. Probably number 1. But right now, this year, to me, it's been like Luka 1, Dame Lillard 2, probably Ja Morant 3, or you could even, if you want to consider Shai a point guard, he's probably more of a shooting guard, but if you want to consider him a point guard, I would put him 3.
I'd probably say SGA's a shooting guard more. Yeah, so I'm going to bring up the stat line real quick. 70 points, 22 for 38 shooting. So he was very efficient. 13 3-pointers made. I'm not 100% what the record is for 3-pointers made in a game. I believe it was like 13, wasn't it?
I thought it was 15.
15? Who hit 15? Was it Steph?
I thought it was Clay. I think it's 15. Clay. I don't know. I can see the record. I don't think Dame Lillard got
I could have swore it was like 13.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, the threes were just pouring in last night. Or Sunday night. It was insane to watch. Yeah, I do agree that Dame Lillard is a top 3-point guard this year. If you don't include Steph, then yeah, absolutely top 3. If you do include Steph, then it's a real tight race between him and Ja Morant for that 3rd spot. But I probably would give it to Dame this season, and then Ja Morant 4 for sure. That's including Steph too, though. So you got the record pulled up?
Yeah, I got it pulled up. It's Klay Thompson with 14 3-pointers.
14. Yeah, so Dame was just 1 3-pointer shy of actually breaking the record. That is crazy.
Tying it. It was tying it. He would have tied it.
Tying it. My bad.
Yeah.
This dude, bro, it's gonna be challenging for somebody if they gotta play Portland in the play-in, because all it takes is one of those nights from Dame. All it takes is for one night Dame goes off for like another 60 points and something, and a team like the Lakers, a team like Minnesota is not in the playoffs anymore. So that's a team I would want to play going into the play-in because Dame Lillard can just go off whenever he wants.
Yeah, they're one of the dangerous teams in the play, and they're probably the most dangerous team because Dame Lillard's probably the scariest player just for like a one-game situation where you have to play him for one game. He's probably the scariest player in the play-in right now, especially in the West.
Winning, you're in too. It's not like the pressure could be any higher, and you know Dame performs under pressure.
Yeah, it's one of the scariest teams in the play-in, probably. Probably won't make it farther after that though. But
no. For one game it'll be good, but after that they'll probably end up getting swept by like Denver or something.
Yeah, for one game, it would be dangerous. Yeah, I actually wanted to go back to what is it called? To Monday night's games. I just wanted to talk about I want to talk about James Wiseman because James Wiseman actually had a pretty good game. Pistons still lost though. It really didn't affect the outcome of the game against the Hornets. They still lost by 11 points. But it was just nice to see James Wiseman have a chance to grow here in Detroit with his young team. He had 23 points, 7 rebounds. He was 9 for 11 from the field, hit 1 3. Yeah, it was just nice to see James Wiseman have a chance to play. Because in Golden State, they really weren't playing him as much. Getting closer to the trade deadline. Not really even this year. I don't really think he ever had a good chance to play in the Warriors. And I know a lot of people are shitting on Wiseman, so maybe Wiseman can become like at least an efficient player or something. I don't think he's gonna become that top 3 player that they thought he was when they drafted him, the big man that they thought they were gonna get when the Warriors drafted him. I don't think he's gonna become like that good. I don't think he's gonna get that good. But right now, he could still be like a good 15, 10 guy in the NBA, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so too. It could really benefit him the same way Jeremy Grant going to Detroit and becoming one of the top options in that team really helped benefit him and boost his stock. He went from like a 4th option on the Nuggets to being first and a 24 point per game scorer on the Pistons. I feel like this trade might have the same effect for James Wiseman. Now he finally gets a chance to be one of the bigger pieces of the offense. He's not just an afterthought. So let's see if Wiseman can continue this performance up. Let's see. If he does, it'll prove to be a valuable trade for the Pistons. And Warriors, I think, just cutting their losses from that draft. They could have had LaMelo Ball. I don't think they want to worry about that too much. They still want a championship. So at the end of the day, I guess it can't really hurt them too much. They did waste a number 2 pick, though, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. They cut their losses. Detroit gets a former number 2 pick who they thought had high upside coming out of the draft. But we'll see where this ends up. I'd like to see it work out for the Pistons. They could, really build off the young roster that they have right now with Cade Cunningham and some of the other pieces around him. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I really hope it does work out for him. I really hope it works out for him in Detroit. It was tough. It was a tough situation in Golden State for him. He looked very unhappy every time I would see him in Golden State. He was really getting playtime. Yeah, I really hope it does work out. All right, the last game I wanted to talk about from last night's games was the Magic versus the Pelicans. I want to talk about I think he should be the clear-cut favorite for Rookie of the Year. Paolo Banchero. He should be the clear-cut favorite for the Rookie of the Year. He's 29 points, 10 for 18 from the field. I actually want to talk about something because this month he was actually really struggling from the field. I saw a stat that he was like 1 for 30 in the February. He was 1 for 30 in February. It was a nice bounce back game to close out the month of February for him. Pelicans continue to have their free fall ever since Zion went to injury. They lost to this Magic team. The Magic team are very competitive though. They're a young team, very competitive. But the Pelicans were supposed to be a really good playoff team, and they've just taken a big fall ever since Zion left. Mm-hmm. It was pretty mediocre games from Ingram, CJ McCollum, the bad efficiency for what they scored. And yeah, well, Franz Wagner had a bad game too, but it really didn't matter. The Pelicans played a pretty mediocre game. Valanciunas, 2 for 4 from the field. He's getting paid too much money just to take 4 shots in the game. Getting paid way too much money to do that. Jose Alvarado, off the bench, didn't do much for them. Yeah, the Pelicans just had a bad game, and Paolo was really the best player on the court this game, even over Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing seeing where the Pelicans are at, seeing how they're a team with some high upside, very high upside, but injuries, specifically to Zion, keep them, hindered back. I'm just ask this real quick. Do you know how much longer Zion's gonna be out for? Like a kind of like a timeline?
I don't really think there's even a timeline right now. I think it's just like
For real?
I think they're just gonna like check on him again in a couple of weeks.
Damn. Yeah, because if not, it's another situation where the Pelicans can't keep relying on Zion. Bro, like, if Zion keeps on getting injured again, I think the Pelicans just need to trade him. They're paying him too much money and they can't rely on him. He's a very high upside player. He's a very good player, too. I'm not hating on Zion in no way. This is in no way disrespect to Zion Williamson. But if you're New Orleans, I don't think you could continue to rely on Zion to be there every single night. You can't rely on him to be your top guy. You can't rely on him to be your face of the franchise because he's never going to be there for you. Last year in the playoffs, they had a legitimate chance of beating the Suns. If they would have had their best player there, who knows, they may have actually won that series. But I tell you, the Pelicans, they need to go out. They need to get some pieces to build around. Brandon Ingram is a solid piece. CJ McCollum is a solid piece. I feel like if they were to trade Zion, they could get a lot of assets back in return, and they could build out their roster in a different direction and not have to rely on Zion in order to take their team into the next level. It sucks to say. It sucks to say because I really like Zion, but I feel like the move for the Pelicans is to trade him, let him be a number 2 somewhere else, and let him shine somewhere else.
Yeah, I just don't know about Brandon Ingram being a number 1 option because he's been pretty bad in efficiency wise, 45.9, and I just don't know. Even if they try to trade Zion, I don't think they're going to get back anything nearly as valuable as Zion. So I think it's better just to roll the dice right now. Because to be honest, I think if you trade Zion, there's going to be like a mediocre team still. Because I don't think they're going to get like some I don't really think anybody's going to offer them like something super valuable for Zion, especially like you said, he's not reliable. He's not reliable at all. Injury wise, yeah. Last year he was injured most of the season. This year it looks like he's injured most of the season again. So I don't know any team's going to actually give him valuable stuff. Because most likely they're probably just going to get like a mediocre trade package, and they're just going to be mediocre with their team. So I think it's better just to take the chance, especially for a small market like the Pelicans. The only reason they're relevant a little bit right now is because they got lucky and they got Zion. That's the only reason they're relevant. Because right now, if they didn't have Zion, they probably wouldn't have got that as big as the trade package as they did when they traded Anthony Davis, because they got the So it's just Brandon Ingram's been pretty inefficient this year. I just don't know how good he would be as a number 1 option.
Yeah, well, like you said too, it does also depend on the trade packages that you receive. Obviously, if you get some weak trade offers, this probably is better just to stick with Zion. But I tell you, it's just hard relying on this guy. It's hard relying on him as your number 1. It's hard relying on him as your face of the franchise. So, I think I would like
it better if the Pelicans tried to make a move for another a number 1, like for a guy like that. Like if Joel Embiid had problems with Philly in the offseason, I could see them moving for Embiid, and they don't have to rely on Zion as much as they have to. Because I think it would be a nice, like somebody like that, like Embiid. I think you trade for Embiid, you pair him up with Zion.
I actually do like that idea. I do like that idea.
You don't have to put as much on Zion's shoulders. Joel Embiid can really become the face of the franchise, and Zion can be the second star to him.
That's a very good second star too. Joel Embiid and Zion Williamson could really do some damage out in the West. Yeah. And I feel like the Pelicans have the assets to get it done too. If Philly did want to move on from Embiid, like you said, they got Brandon Ingram. which is a solid start right there on its own. And then you got some other young pieces. You got Jose Alvarado, if New Orleans is willing to trade him. I'm pretty sure they still got a whole bunch of draft picks because they haven't really traded any of them away, I don't think. So they'll be able to put together a compelling offer to Philly. It's just whether or not Philly wants to move on. Or, like we mentioned earlier, Damian Lillard, if he were to become available. We have been saying he needs to become available for a long, long time, but this guy, he stays loyal to Portland, so I wouldn't really rely too much on that one.
I wouldn't. I don't think Damian's going to get traded. But yeah,
a number one star for sure. New Orleans would definitely make them a team to watch.
Yeah, that would. Another guy there was Zion. They had to put him. Zion could take a step back. He just had to do everything for them when he is there. He doesn't have to be that number one option. Probably help him get injured less. So yeah, that would be the good option for the Pelicans to take in the offseason. So right now it looks like they might not even be in the plan this year. But we're actually going to talk about some NBA injury news now.
I actually wanted to stick on the Magic real quick. The Magic, I think, are a pretty solid team. It's disappointing that they're not higher in the standings, but I feel like they could be a pretty good team in the years to come. You know, Jonathan Isaac coming back. I haven't really paid attention to this too much and the impact it's had, but I feel like going into like next year after Isaac's been getting some games in under his belt, after Banchero develops another year, Cole Anthony gets to develop another year, and Markelle Fultz, if he can stay healthy, I feel like Orlando could put together a solid team next year. I don't think they'll be elite. I'm not saying they're going to be like the Celtics or anything like that, but if they continue to build their team the right way, they do have a good foundation to build off of. They still got Franz Wagner. They could be a pretty good team in the years to come. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Yeah, I definitely do think the Magic are gonna be a pretty good team. They have the building blocks already, Apollo and Wagner. They probably have another lottery pick unless they somehow sneak into the play in the East, which I don't think they will. But they could. They could. They're 26 and 36. They could try to sneak into the play in like a 10th seed. I actually think that Jonathan Isaac is probably gonna get traded. They have to do something about Isaac because Isaac has not been very good, and he's still pretty injury prone. He actually missed his game because of his injury. So, yeah, I just think Jonathan Isaac needs to get moved on from. He's averaged 5 points. He's barely coming back, but they're paying him a lot of money. They need to do something about him.
I don't expect him to be like back to full shape right away because I can't even remember the last time he played. Wasn't it in the bubble?
Yeah, it was in the bubble.
The last time he played was in the bubble. Yeah, so I'm not really expecting him to get into shape right away. That's why I was saying like next year after he got in some games under his belt. The injury prone stuff does concern me a bit, but I think that he's still a solid player once he gets some games under his belt. They could try to move on from him though. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they do need to move on just because they're crowded at that position with Bobo, Paulo, Wagner. He's really just going to be a fourth option at that position, more than likely, because even Bobo has shown he has some good potential. I think it's just better to move on for him. I think other teams have a better use for him, especially the way he plays. I don't even know how good his defense is really anymore because that was his best thing about him. He's torn his ACL. He was out with torn ACL for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I really don't know how good his defense is anymore. Yeah, he's not really good 3-point shooter. In his games back, he's been a shot chucker and he's barely made any of those shots. He's a bad free throw shooter. His really thing he got paid for was his defense. So I don't know about Jonathan Isaac. But I really like Paulo and Wagner. Those are good. That's a good young dude to start off with. And they're having another lottery pick. Markelle Fultz has been really nice off of his injury this year. Suggs.
I forgot about Jalen Suggs, too. That's actually a good pick. And also Cole Anthony, too.
Oh, yeah, Cole Anthony. Yeah, Cole Anthony's another good guy there. Only thing about Suggs, though, that Suggs is he's in his second year. He really has not been a good scorer or a good playmaker. But he has been an elite defender. I don't like, that's really his really good trait about him. He's been pretty bad for shooting. 41% from the field, 30% from 3. It's pretty bad. but he's an elite defender. This year he's been an elite defender. So at least he has something with Suggs. He's a good defender. You really just don't want to draft a guy that's just a good defender and can't do anything else. And a top 5 pick. Yeah.
But he had a crazy March Madness tournament a few years ago. If he could bring back some of that, some of that magic that he had back in that tournament, oh my god, the magic, bro, that's gonna be.
Oh yeah, if he played like the way he did in college, yeah, they would definitely. If they had college Jalen Suggs, yeah. It was this team would probably be a playoff team, almost at least a playing team for sure. But
yeah, for sure, I'd like to see Jalen Suggs get back to that form, but I mean that's on him though. The NBA is a totally different game.
Yeah, they're kind of crowded at that point guard position with Fultz and Cole Anthony, and if you have a guy that's playing bad, you're really not going to play him anymore. That's what Suggs. He's a good defender, but you have way better scorers and playmakers than Fultz and Cole Anthony in the same position. You're going to play them over Suggs.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
We can move on to injuries now.
Now we can talk about some of the NBA injuries. The biggest one. Let's talk about the LaMelo Ball one first to get that one straight through, because I think that one's less important for like this Hornets season. So let's talk about that one first. LaMelo Ball fractured his ankle. He's out for the remainder of the season. Yeah, it was a tough year for the Hornets. It's been a tough couple of years to start for LaMelo. They were in the play-in. Were they in the play-in last year or the year before that? Do you remember?
They were in the play-in, but they got smacked around by the Hawks.
Yeah, I just remember. Yeah, they got smacked around. I think they were in the play-in back-to-back years, weren't they? I think they got smashed by the Pacers too, didn't they? I just remember.
I don't remember the first year. I know for sure last year, though, they got freaking killed by the Hawks.
Oh, yeah. They've been in the playing team. It's been a tough couple of years for LaMelo Ball. It's another tough year this year. The Hornets are even worse. Their roster is worse. Of course, they lost, what's his name? They lost Miles Bridges. He did some terrible stuff this offseason. That's why he's not here.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. He was their second best player last year, and they lost him. They couldn't even get anything back from him if they don't want to keep him. So this is the tough situation right there. Terry Rozier, I think they should have traded Terry Rozier in the trade deadline. I think they should have just gone full tank at the trade deadline, but they didn't. They still have Gordon Hayward. Don't know how much that helps.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
I actually really like the Hornets, too, going into this year. I thought they were going to take another step forward. Even after losing Miles Bridges, I think, another year. Chemistry, you still got LaMelo Ball. You still got Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward. I thought they were going to maybe do some things, maybe just add a center, but they didn't do that. I thought they would be for sure better than what they were right now. It's a very disappointing season for the Hornets. I really like that team too. I really do. I think LaMelo Ball is, bro, he's on his way to become one of the faces of the NBA. Kind of like, I might be getting too far ahead of myself, but he could possibly be on like that Steph Curry level in a few years. He's got that face. He's got that impact. I feel like he could be a big part of the next generation, kind of like the way that Steph is right now. So it does suck seeing the Hornets in this situation. I don't think they could really get much better from here. They got some bad contracts with Hayward and Rozier. So, I don't know, man. The Hornets are in a tough spot. Maybe Victor can come and bail them out. Who knows?
Yeah, that's their only hope. They've had one bright spot the last few games. Well, they've won 5 games in a row. Their tanking really isn't going good either. So, they won 5 games in a row, even with this LaMelo Ball injury. Mark Williams has been a nice... They drafted him in the first round this year, the center out of Duke. He's been on a good stretch of games the last few games. He had 15 and 11 last night, 18 and 20 the night before. He had a 12 and 10 game, 15 and 5 game, 11 and 12 game. He's been on a pretty nice stretch, but has not been consistent like that. Oh, yeah. They're really going to need just hope they get the first pick this year in this year's draft, because I really don't. Their only player that's going to really be here, maybe, I guess they have like 2 players that maybe are the future. Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball, really LaMelo Ball. Everybody else in this roster is pretty much like, yeah, you can pretty much just like get rid of them. Maybe PJ Washington, but he still really hasn't been that good either. Yeah, you can really get. They have Kelly Oubre. I didn't even know they had Kelly Oubre. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that too. Yeah, they got Kelly Oubre and PJ Washington. But PJ Washington, I'm pretty sure he was the one who got screwed over by Brittany Renner, right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I guess I'm still messing with him, bro, because Dude
Yeah.
ain't been too good lately.
Yeah, they have James Bouknight too, but James Bouknight's pretty much a bust. Has not done anything.
Hmm.
He was a first round pick. I believe he was a lottery pick as well. He's like 13 at least. At least pick 13,
Oh yeah,
I think.
yeah. He hasn't done anything for them.
Yeah, he's shooting 25% from three. Yeah, 32% from the field. Yeah, you practically. Yeah, that's shitty. Yeah. So
he's
the
done.
Hornets, the only way they have good players is when they draft high. Because all the other draft picks are pretty much shit the bed. Well, I guess they drafted Miles Bridges, but they didn't expect Miles Bridges to do what he did in the offseason. That's all we're going to leave it at. We're going to just leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that for the Hornets. Because it's pretty tough year for them. It'll probably be a tough couple of more years unless they draft Wembanyama. All right.
Yeah, that's gonna suck for LaMelo. that's gonna suck for LaMelo.
That's gonna really suck. Hopefully, they just need to draft any other. They need to just draft another star there to help LaMelo. That's all Hornets fans can really hope for right now. They just need to draft.
I don't think they're signing any stars.
Yeah, they just need
because Jordan likes to play mid players like they're freaking top tier NBA guys. But yeah, no star is probably gonna want to sign there. They gotta get lucky and hit on a draft pick.
Yeah, no star's gonna go to Charlotte. It's a small market team, a really small market team, and then they suck. So yeah, nobody's gonna go there unless you're like a role player and you want a big contract. You go to Charlotte.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He's gonna give that money to a bunch of mid players and pay them like they're top tier.
Lamel's gonna have to hope they either what is it called? They draft another star with him, or he's just gonna have to request a trade and leave the Hornets and go to somewhere else that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably gonna want to go to a bigger market, anyways.
Yeah, the Hornets can join the Rockets as another G League team right now. They're not as bad, but the way they run their organization, they run it like a G League team too.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
And you already saw what he did with Kemba all those years. Kemba never got help. Yeah, that was
he just wasted his whole career.
Yeah,
I mean, he had a few years of Al Jefferson, but
the only reason they even got Terry Rozier to this team on the big contract was because they traded Kemba Walker to get him. Mm-hmm. So it was really, you don't even know if he chose to go there or if he was just forced to go there. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure Rozier wanted that bag.
Yeah, he probably wanted that bag. He probably didn't care. Yeah. All right, this is probably the biggest injury news right now for the NBA. LeBron James is out for 2 to 3 weeks with a right foot injury. He suffered it in that come from behind win against the Mavericks on Sunday. The Lakers were down by 27. That was the largest comeback in the NBA this season. They were down by 27. They came back. I was actually watching this game and I saw LeBron get hurt. It didn't look too bad. He was able to finish the game, but apparently he was a lot worse than it seemed. He's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. What do you think this does to the Lakers' playoff chances, Isaac?
If AD cannot perform, if AD can't take over and be the number one for this team, then they might fall out of contention for the play-in spot. It's already getting towards the end of the year. The playoffs start in April. It's already about to be March. Missing LeBron for 2 to 3 weeks could be very critical. They're already at the bottom of the West. It's not like they're like an 8th seed or like around that area. No, they're out of the play-in, trying to get into the play-in. So if you're missing LeBron, that could be a huge blow for this team. That could really, really, really destroy their play-in chances for the second year in a row. They might not even make the play-in. When you got LeBron on your team, when you got Anthony Davis on your team, this shouldn't be happening. Darvin Ham, I don't even know what the hell he's doing. I mean, they brought him in to be an upgrade from Frank Vogel to so far. I mean, I guess they're not as bad as they were last year. Last year they did seem a lot worse, but they don't really look like they upgraded either. D'Angelo Russell is going to need to come back to be that number 2. Everybody on the Lakers is going to have to step up, or else they're not even going to have a chance at the play-in for a second year in a row. That's going to be extremely tough. If you want to attract free agents there, losing isn't the way to get it done. The purple and gold can only get you so far. If you keep losing and losing and losing and losing and losing, then how confident are you that free agents are going to want to come to you? you want to try to lure Kyrie away from a top 5 player in the NBA to come play for the Lakers when all they've done the past 2 years, ever since their bubble championship, all they've done is lose. They lost in 5 to the Suns in 2021. They missed the playoffs last year. They might miss the playoffs again. This could be a huge blow for the Lakers, and now they don't even have their 2021 pick. So if they don't make the play-in, that's going to really, really, really be a big loss for the Lake Show on so many different levels.
Okay, I think this is a bad loss for the Lakers, but I still really think they have a chance to make the play-in. Like I told you, we were talking about the Pelicans earlier. They're in the big free-for-all. The teams with they could really, they might. I don't think the Pelicans are going to be in the play-in, to be honest with you. I think the Blazers, the Lakers are going to sneak into that play-in spot for the Pelicans. Utah's is 500. I could see them falling out too. The only team I really see that I don't think is going to fall out of the play-in right now is not the Mavs, the Warriors. The Warriors are 31-30. Even right now,
Minnesota too.
Minnesota probably won't fall out either. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Utah's. I think I can see them falling out. New Orleans, I can see them falling out. I can even see Minnesota fall out because there's some games where they don't look. They're not as. There's a reason they're 31-32 is because they're not. Same reason as the Lakers. They're not consistent. Yeah. I'm playing good basketball. The only team that I'm for sure, like 100% sure, that I have no question about is going to make the play on is the Warriors because they're going to get Curry back in a few weeks. Even right now, they're still keeping afloat with the team that they have right now. Klay Thompson's been having a really good couple months, a really good shooter still. Yeah, they're still fine. I think the Warriors are going to be fine. I can still see the Lakers. This is why you pay Anthony Davis all this money. Is to be that. He has to be the number one star now. If he can't last for 2 weeks at the shortest or 3 weeks at the latest, if he can't last as being the number one star, then that money is just being wasted on Anthony Davis.
It really is.
I really did like they don't have Russell right now. The ankle sprain. He's not coming back for probably another week. So it's going to be about him too. But Vanderbilt on Sunday, you saw what he did against the Mavs. He had I think he had one of the best games of his career probably. He
put on a show defensively.
Yeah. He had 15 points, 15 rebounds, 2 blocks, I believe 4 steals.
Yeah,
6 right from the field. He was all over the field. He's all over the court on defense. He's one of my favorite pickups. Malik Beasley, he had a good game a couple of nights ago, but Sunday night he wasn't doing anything special. He was just a shot chucker that couldn't make anything. 3 for 14 from the field, 2-11 from 3 8 points. Yeah, you're gonna need him to be more consistent and stop taking the stupid shots, really. And you're gonna need Russell to come back. Especially with LeBron, you're going to need to hope Russell can come back quicker than expected. Especially with LeBron out now for probably about a month, almost a month.
Yeah, Russell's going to get a shine as that second star.
Yeah, but Anthony Davis is going to step up. He's going to have to step up, really. That's really the only thing to say about this. Yeah, because I think they can stay afloat if Anthony Davis steps up. You're going to need Anthony Davis to be the number one option. You're going to need him You're going to need him to be aggressive. Because there's some nights where he's not aggressive at all. He just lets LeBron do whatever. And he does not. There's some nights where he only takes like 5 shots. You can't have that. You're going to have to be aggressive. You can't let Dennis Schroeder take more shots than you. That's the problem. You can't do that. So Anthony Davis is really going to have... The only way the Lakers are going to stay afloat, really, is if Anthony Davis stays. He shows he's the number one option still. Because before he got injured this season, he was looking like one of the top players in the NBA again this year. And then he got injured, and he's coming back from his injury. He has had inconsistent games, really. So you're really gonna need help. You're gonna need to have Anthony Davis step up. You're gonna need him to become. You're gonna need him to be AD from a few years ago when he was unstoppable. When he was one of the top 5 players in the NBA. That's what you're really gonna need.
I think AD could. I think he really could step up as that number one. The only issue I think is, like you say, injuries. And I used to make fun of him as a joke. You know, having him as glass bones and street clothes and all this stuff. But it's not even a joke anymore. Like, this dude literally cannot stay on the court. That might be an issue. If he tries doing too much, he might end up hurting himself again. Who knows? Like, if he takes that step and becomes the number one again, takes the lead of this team, pushes them, keeps them afloat, it might come at the risk of his health. You know, I'm not even joking about that either. He might end up hurting himself doing that. So that's the main issue that I see with Anthony Davis and trying to keep this team alive. going into the playoffs next month.
Yeah, the health is really the biggest thing for AD. He needs to stay healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, this team is probably not going to be a playing team. All right, so we're going to really transition out of the NBA today. We're going to go to some of the bigger NFL news that happened from earlier this week. Probably some of the biggest news probably is that the Bills are losing their defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier. He's taking a year off from the coaching. I'm really wondering how this is going to affect the Bills' defense. They've had one of the top defenses. They have a lot of good players on the defensive side. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to replicate what they've been doing these last 2 years if they bring in a solid defensive coach to replace him. I'm just really wondering what they're going to do without Leslie Frazier. He was getting interviewed for head coaching job last year. So he's one of the best D coordinators in the NFL. So I wonder what's really going to happen.
This year, too, I'm pretty sure you got brought in for some interviews.
Oh, this year, too, yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know. Yeah, but I know for sure. I know last year he was getting a lot of interviews. Yeah, it's just tough. Tough for the Bills. That's a tough loss for the Bills this year.
It really
hoping
is
to
a
stay
tough loss.
contenders. Yeah.
Especially after they disappointed this season. A bunch of people were overhyping them, and they're already giving the Bills a Super Bowl. A bunch of the sports media, the sports books, all of that, they're already hyping up the Bills, practically giving them the Lombardi already. And they failed to meet expectations, They lost to the Bengals in the second round. They lost to the Chiefs 2 years in a row before that. And for a team that's trying to make it to the next level and actually go to a Super Bowl, this is probably going to hurt that team. They're trying to move up right now. They can't afford losses like this, especially just to take a year off of football. I mean, if they could get a solid defensive mind to replace them, I would assume they'd probably just promote someone from within to become the defensive coordinator, and hopefully it wouldn't make too big of a difference. But if the Bills' defense does, in fact, take a step down and they can't meet expectations again, it's going to be rough for Buffalo fans. I'm going to just say that.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for them. But it's good when you have one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. They're still probably going to win the division, but it's going to be hard to compete with those guys at the top of the AFC, like the Chiefs, the Bengals. Those guys are going to be tough to compete with when your defense takes a step back, especially Jordan Poyer as well, one of the top safeties in the NFL, is a free agent, and Tremaine Edmonds is a free agent. Both of them, big pieces of that defense, are both more than likely going to leave because I don't know if the Bills are going to be able to retain them, especially after they paid Von Miller that huge contract last year. I don't think they're going to be able to retain those two guys. So they're going to have to find replacements for those two guys, maybe in the draft, maybe in the cheaper free agency market. They're going to have to find somebody to replace those guys. It's going to be tough to replace those guys because those are two of the top guys at their position, especially Tremaine Edmonds. He's like a rising star. Jordan Poyer has been one of the best safeties in the NFL for the last few years, especially when he's been on the Bills. So, especially if they lose both of those guys, it's going to be even tougher for their defense to be as good as it was the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna be very difficult to make it past the Bengals again, to make it past the Chiefs again. The Dolphins are probably gonna be rising. I still think the Bills would probably take the division, but they're gonna be a bit more worried now when the Dolphins come in.
Yeah, definitely. All right, then we also have Derek Carr's free agency market starting to seem like the 3 teams that are really going after him are the Jets, the Saints, and the Panthers. He's meeting with those teams at the Combine this weekend in person. Who do you think the favorite is out of those 3 teams?
We had talked about it, I believe it was on the last episode, that Derek Carr, he would be a very good fit for the Jets. As far as the front runner goes, I'd probably say the Jets. I would think the Jets, but I don't think that Derek Carr is the Jets' main choice. I think Derek Carr is the second option for the Jets behind Aaron Rodgers. If the Jets can't land Aaron Rodgers, then I think they fall back and they pick up Derek Carr, see what he could do. I feel like they'd probably be the favorite right now. I feel like it does make sense for Derek Carr. I had brought up the Saints in the last episode, but I had completely forgotten that Alvin Kamara might not even play next season. The same thing with Michael Thomas potentially getting cut. All they would really have is Chris Olave. They already had a meeting about like a month ago, earlier this month, and Derek Carr didn't want to get traded there. So I do take back what I say about the Saints. Maybe if things don't work out between Carr and the Jets, he does fall back to the Saints. But as of right now, I feel like he wants to go to the Jets out of those three. I feel like the Jets want to bring him in, but it all depends on what Aaron Rodgers does and how much New York is willing to give up in order to bring him in.
Yeah, the only thing is, to me, it's pretty much Jets. I don't really see him going to the Saints or Panthers. The only way I could see him going to the Saints is maybe if he gets mad that the Jets don't want to sign him and they're waiting for Rodgers. I think that's a possibility, that he gets mad about that and then he goes to the Saints. He doesn't even think about he doesn't even think about the Jets anymore. That's the only way I could see him not going to the Jets. The Panthers, I think they're just doing their due diligence. I really don't think they're going to go for a veteran. I think it's better just to go for a young guy. Because Derek Carr went to the Panthers, for sure, it's not going to be like they'll probably win the division because all the other teams aren't very good either. Same thing if Derek Carr goes to the Saints. They'll probably win the division too. But the only reason why is because pretty much, unless the other teams in the division get a new quarterback that's better than Derek Carr, they're more than likely going to win the division as well. I think the Jets are probably his best option. They probably have the best team built already. Out of the Saints and the Panthers, they have the best team probably. They had two of the Rookie of the Years this year, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. They already have Quinn Williams. They're going to get Breece Hall back next year. They probably have the best roster. It's probably the best situation, and they're probably the favorites to land him right now. We're also going to talk about some of the guys who were cut by their teams. It was Carson Wentz was released by the Washington Commanders. John Johnson III was released by the Cleveland Browns. Leonard Fournette was released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And finally, the Kenny Golladay era is over in New York. Happy about that one?
Happy about that one. Yeah, I'm about to say, you're definitely happy about that one.
Yeah, it was $72 million contract. It was a pretty bad contract. Oh, yeah, it was just one of the things Dave Gettleman did to our franchise. One of the worst free agency signings in Giants history is going to be the Kenny Golladay.
Probably the most interesting. That Shane cut his losses pretty quickly with that one.
Yeah. Kenny Golladay didn't do much this year. It's another pretty bad year. He had one touchdown, and that was in Week 18, the last game of the season, which really didn't matter. And Carson Wentz is really...
0 touchdowns the year before.
Oh, yeah, 0 touchdowns the year before. Yeah, he didn't do much. Hardly any catches. He's supposed to be the number one option. And Carson Wentz was really not really breaking news that he was going to get released. The big cap hit, played terrible again. Pretty much going to either just be a backup, probably, or out of the league for Carson Wentz. He's pretty much...
Career's pretty much what's up with the XFL.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably I mean, he could go dominate in the XFL. Go see what's up there. If he doesn't want to be a backup, he could probably... I mean, some team will probably still bring him along as a... Man, would you want to bring him along as a backup, though?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Because some of the reports that came out of Indy back in the day, Indy and Philadelphia, is that some of his teammates wouldn't really get behind him. And as a guy who's normally used to being the starter for his whole career and being the top guy, I wonder how he would take that and how that would play into the rest of the locker room. So I don't even know if you want to bring him in as a backup. He would be a quality backup for sure. But you want to do that to the locker room?
Yeah, I think some team's going to sign him. He's really not going to have a voice in the locker room like the way you're saying. He's probably not going to have a voice at all. Now he's pretty much I think he knows his place now. Especially after he was benched this year with Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke is also a free agent. But there's some teams that are going to need quarterbacks. Like the Bucks have, what's his name? Kyle Trask? Carson Wentz. You can't tell me that Carson Wentz isn't better than Kyle Trask.
It's probably an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, even there, they could use a quarterback. Panthers don't even have a quarterback right now. They don't even, I don't know what they're going to do. They could probably draft one. The Saints. Jameis Winston, they really don't have no quarterback either. Saints don't have a quarterback either.
Yeah. So he might get a year as a starter then, is what you're saying.
Yeah. The Falcons don't really have a quarterback either. They have
I feel like the Falcons are comfortable letting Desmond Ridder.
Probably.
Seeing what they have there. At least for a
bring
year.
A veteran backup. A lot of teams, I think some teams will bring him as a backup. I think some people will bring him in as a backup. He still has some knowledge to give.
I mean,
to maybe the starter of the team. Yeah. And there's some teams where he would be an upgrade.
XFL. Yeah, I guess it's not time for him to hit the XFL yet.
Yeah, I think he's still a little too good for the XFL. He still has some decent throws when he did play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to head to the XFL yet. Maybe another year. Maybe in another year after this.
Yeah, I thought Washington for sure was going to be his last chance. I thought Indy was going to be his last chance. I guess he did good enough in Indy to get another chance in Washington. But after Washington, I thought for sure he would have to like retire or go somewhere else because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see him being a starter in the NFL anymore.
Yeah, he probably won't be ever a starter ever again. It's pretty much, or like a starter where you pay big money to him. He probably won't be like that. He might be a starter next year if he goes to one of those terrible teams that need a quarterback badly. Those terrible quarterback situations like the Bucks or something like that, maybe. Because he's still an upgrade over some of the guys they got. Or he'll more likely be a backup. And then Leonard Fournette's playoff Lenny. The playoff Lenny era is over in Tampa Bay too. He was pretty much, you could pretty much see the writing on the wall for this one. Especially this season. He was really not playing anymore. Midway, he stopped. They really benched him that game in Germany when they played Seattle. That was really the first game where they like really benched him and they didn't want to play him anymore. You saw reports of him coming in overweight in the preseason. So yeah, it was pretty much the writing on the wall. There's writing on the wall for this one. They really didn't give him touches anymore. This year he finished with 189 carries, 668 yards, 3 touchdowns. He averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Yeah, it was pretty much done. Yeah, they really didn't give him as much carries.
Especially after Brady's retirement, too. They already know they're not trying to compete for anything. There's no reason to keep him around. Let him go off somewhere where he might actually have an impact on that team. He's got some championship experience, so I feel like whoever does pick him up, they'll be getting a quality player.
Yeah, Rachaad White, the rookie running back that the Bucks took last year's draft, 3rd round. He was way more efficient too when they gave him the ball. He averaged 4.2 yards a carry. It's more efficient than Leonard Fournette. So yeah, it was pretty much writing on the wall. You got a cheaper guy in Rachaad White. You don't have to pay anything at all right now because he's a second-year running back, gonna go in the second year. So yeah, it was pretty much over. Even Giovanni Bernard was getting more carries towards the end of the season. And Giovanni Bernard is pretty washed up as well. So
that's tough for Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, so it was pretty much over for Leonard Fournette when he saw that happening in Tampa Bay. And to me, this is the best play that was released today. This is more of a cap reason than anything. I don't really think it was because of how he was playing. Is John Johnson III. He played with the Rams early on in his career. That's where he was drafted. This was his second year in the 3-year contract. He signed with the Cleveland Browns, I believe, in 2021. He was heading into the final year of that contract, but the Bucks wanted some more caps. The Browns wanted some more cap space, and they got it here, releasing John Johnson. John Johnson's only 27 years old. He's still very young for the position. For being that good, he's still very young.
Yeah, he could probably be a quality player still. It's not even like he's washed or anything.
Yeah, he's going to be a quality player. Yeah, he's definitely not washed. I really think he's still one of the best safeties in the NFL. This is really just a cap reason.
Yeah, it's that Deshaun Watson contract's already hitting them in the mouth.
Yeah, and I don't really think he was that good of a fit with the Browns defense. They're changing it up a little bit too, going into next season. They hired a new D coordinator. So yeah, it was pretty much a scheme change as well. So it's more than likely the best to move on from him. You get the cap space and you let John Johnson move on to a better situation for him and get paid again, because more than likely he's going to get another hefty contract. So yeah, he was probably the best player released today.
That's true. That's probably they're going to be a quality pickup for sure.
Cleveland was trying to trade him, but nobody wanted to trade for him because they knew they were going to cut him. That was pretty tough.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough when that happens. Yeah.
So, you don't even have to give up any assets. You might still get him.
Yeah, that was really a bad situation for the Browns. Mm-hmm. All right, so the last topic of today's show is going to be our top 10 most valuable players, non-quarterback. You can go first, Isaac, if you want.
You want me to go first? I bet I have this written down here. So, my most valuable player, non-QB, number 1, I got Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Travis Kelce. You see the impact he has on that Chiefs team. He goes crazy. He's probably one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He's only going to continue racking up numbers now that he's still got a few more years with Mahomes. He's going to rack up numbers for sure. You take away Travis Kelce from that team, it could be completely different. I don't know what Mahomes would do, to be honest. He might still be a great QB. He might create something out of nothing, but the Chiefs definitely are nowhere close to the same team that they are right now if they lose Travis Kelce. So I got him at number 1. Number 2, I got offensive lineman from San Francisco, Trent Williams at number 2. He secures the left side of the line. As long as you got Trent Williams back there, you could put anyone against him. He's got you covered. He's got that left side locked up. In the pass game, the run game, he's a big guy. He plows over people. He's been ranked the top highest lineman by PFF for like the past, I can't even remember how many years, since like 2015. He's still performing. He's the best lineman in the NFL for sure. Trent Williams, second most valuable player in the NFL. My third most valuable, we're also keeping it in San Francisco. Now, on the defensive end, I got Nick Bosa coming in at number 3. Ever since the Niners drafted Nick Bosa, the year that Nick Bosa was drafted, he came in, they changed that defense around. That defense became one of the top defenses in the NFL. Bob Saleh, they were able to go to the Super Bowl that first year. Nick Bosa as a rookie. He went down the next year. The whole Niners took a step back. He's back. He's healthy now. You see the effects of it. The 49ers defense is at the top once again. DeMeco Ryans, the second defensive coordinator, got a head coaching job after Bob Saleh. You see the impact Nick Bosa has brought to this team. You feel it. He's got that edge set. He's going to bring the pressure. He's going to bring the heat. Nick Bosa, number 3, and the top most valuable defensive player in the league. Number 4, also on defense, now coming out of Dallas, and that's Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons at number 4. He's got some versatility to him. When he was drafted as an inside linebacker. They moved him to an edge rusher out of necessity, and I'm pretty sure Dallas hasn't looked back ever since. That pairing with Dan Campbell. I meant to say Dan Quinn and Michael Parsons. It's been really special, Dan Quinn's about to get a head coach. Well, he could have gotten a head coaching job the past 2 years. A big part of that is because of Michael Parsons and the impact that he has brought to this defense. Michael Parsons, second highest defensive player. You can't really argue with that. He's one of the top guys in the NFL. Now we're going to go to number 5. Another defensive player. Another defensive lineman. Many people may even think that he's ranked too low on this list. Super Bowl champion. We're going with the interior presence, Aaron Donald, at number 5. Aaron Donald, we already know who Aaron Donald is. He's going to bring the pressure from the inside. You can line him up. You can line him up anywhere on the defensive line, and he's going to bring the heat. We know Aaron Donald. He just got his ring. One of the most important pieces of that defense. Aaron Donald at number 5. Joseph, let's see your top 5 real quick, and then we'll finish the top 10. All right.
Well, I did my list a little different. I took age into account, so I was like, if they're younger, they're way more valuable in terms of my list. That's the way I did it. So you're not gonna see some guys like I'm just gonna let you know already. Trent Williams, Travis Kelce, they're not here right now on this list because I took age into account. So I'm looking towards future years. That's the way I did my list. So I just wanted to let you know. Some of these players, they're probably not as valuable as Travis Kelce, Trent Williams, but I just put them here right now because I just put them here of their age. So if they're like 22, 23, they're way more valuable in terms of my list. Yeah. So my number 1 is Justin Jefferson. I believe he's the best wide receiver in football right now. He's only 23 years old, and he's already on pace to have right now for his career. He's on pace to have the most receiving yards ever. That's right now. That's the pace he's on right now. Mm-hmm. He's been going on a crazy pace. He's the best receiver to me. Like, he's unstoppable to guard sometimes. Like, it's really tough to guard him. He's one of the best route runners in the game. He's silky smooth his routes. Yeah. So Justin Jefferson, only 23 years old, already the best receiver in my opinion already. So yeah, I think he's number one for me. Number two is Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is only 23 years old as well, and he's already one of the top defensive players in the league. He was running up for Defensive Player of the Year this year. Just in his second season, he was the Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. And the thing I really like about him is that he's an elite edge rusher, and he can also drop back in coverage. That's amazing for a guy like him. There's not many elite edge rushers that can also drop back in coverage and play great in coverage. He did this in college. He was actually a really good pass coverage guy in college, and he was not that good at edge rushing. And now he's an elite edge rusher, and now he's a pretty good pass coverage guy. So pretty much flip-flopped when he got into the NFL. And 3, I got Nick Bosa, the Defensive Player of the Year this year. He's 25 years old. That's the only reason I have him behind Michael Parsons, just because of that age difference. That's the only reason I have him. Because I still believe Nick Bosa is better than Michael Parsons right now. But that age difference is the only reason I have Micah ahead of him. Nick Bosa, of course, he's been one of the best defensive players. It's the only year he was really not. The only year that he missed was because of his injury, torn ACL. That was the only year he missed. But other than that, he's probably been the best defensive player in the NFL. He's also won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was the Defensive Player of the Year. This year, he beat out Michael Parsons. He deserved it this year. So he's my number 3. And then number 4, I got another LSU wide receiver, Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. He's only 22 years old. He's even younger than Justin Jefferson. And he's probably already a top 5 receiver, at least. Not even, if not top 5, top 6 at least. Jamar Chase is already there as well. He's only 22. That's crazy to me. He's already he's a different type of receiver than Justin Jefferson though. He can moss you. That's his type of game. He's a deep threat compared to Jefferson. Jefferson's more of a route runner type of guy. Jamar Chase is a deep threat type of guy. But Jamar Chase is still one of the most valuable players to me. Age, position he plays, he's already one of the top receivers in the game. He'll probably for sure be him and Jefferson are probably gonna be the top 2 receivers in a couple of years for sure. Like, they're gonna be there next to each other, both LSU guys. And number 5, one of my favorite players in the NFL. I believe he's the second best left tackle, only behind Trent Williams. Andrew Thomas. He was an All-Pro this year. He was a Pro Bowl this year. He's already racking up those accolades already. He's only 24 years old. Only 24. And he's already this good. Only guy that's ahead of him right now is the guy who's been doing this for like 10 or 12 years, and it's Trent Williams. That's the only guy I put ahead. But Andrew Thomas is 24 years old, which is the reason why I told you I was taking into account age. And Andrew Thomas, he's already one of the lead guys there, and he's 24 years old. Those are my top 5 guys right now.
All right. Yeah, I see where you're going with this. The age was a huge factor for yours. Yeah. So moving forward, I get what you're talking about. I'm talking about like the most valuable players right now. But either way works out. All right, let's get into my number 6. Number 6, I got outside linebacker from the Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ Watt. We're continuing the run of defensive players. TJ Watt's one of the most disruptive edge rushers in the league. We know his brother JJ. TJ is on his way up. He's really helped make that Steelers defense one of the elite defenses for the past, 3 years. He's been that top guy on that defense. He's the main guy. He's the main reason why this defense is performing so well. TJ Watt, number 6. Number 7, I got your number 1 player. I got Justin Jefferson. Right now is number 7. I agree with you. Already the best receiver in the league. Minnesota's got a great receiver on their hands, He's at a valuable position moving forward. Wide receiver. Having that number 1 wide receiver is really beneficial for your team. It's a really good thing to have. Justin Jefferson, he's the best receiver. He's going to make things happen no matter who the QB is. Justin Jefferson, number 7. Number 8, it's a bit of an older guy, but he's one of the best players in the league still to this day. The team took a step back this year, but I still see him as the best at his position. That is King Henry, Derrick Henry out of Tennessee. I believe that you could run the entire offense through him. Derrick Henry, you could run the entire offense. Your entire offense can beat Derrick Henry, and it's going to be successful. You're going 30 carries a game. He's going to break one off eventually. No matter who the QB is back there, even though the team takes a step back, he's really going to help benefit, whether it's Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill. He's the whole offense. You give the ball to Derrick Henry. Still one of the best players in the league. Still the top at his position. Derrick Henry. Number 8. Number 9. I'm keeping it same position, same division, a lot younger. Running back from the Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor. No, he's still a very young player. Just finished up his 3rd year in the league. Took a step back due to some ankle injuries. But the 2 years when he was fully healthy, he was one of the top guys in the league. Last year, he probably was the best running back in the league, best offensive player by that matter. It was between him and Cooper Kupp for who was the best player last year on offense. Jonathan Taylor, young player. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of elusiveness. He's still, in my opinion, one of the best backs in the league. He's only going to get better from here. As long as he could get some solid protection up front, he'll make something happen. He's really going to help benefit whoever comes in at QB. It could be Bryce Young. It could be an old guy like Derek Carr, even though I very, very, very doubt that. Really doubt that. It will be Derek Carr. Jonathan Taylor is still going to have a very big impact on that team. At number 10, I got defensive back, defensive rookie of the year, Sauce Gardner. At number 10, most valuable. I feel like he's only going to develop going forward. Next season, he's going to be I'd probably say next year he takes a leap and becomes the best cornerback in the NFL. I think he's that guy. Jets could have another version of Darrelle Revis on their hand. And when you have a guy who could completely take away one side of the field, he has that side locked down. It is one of the best things for the defense. You allow the defense to go do other things, focus in other areas, while you have that one guy on an island, while you have that one island on one side. Sauce Gardner is going to be a real problem next year, and he's my number 10 most valuable player. That wraps up my top 10. Let's see what you got.
All right, number 6. I just have the guy you just named right now. I have Sauce Gardner. I already believe. To me, he is the best cornerback in the NFL. To me, that's what I believe already. Mm-hmm. He was locked down everybody. They said PFF said that he allowed some touchdowns, but they were like knick-knack touchdowns. Like they were really like picky, like super picky. Like it wasn't even his guy, and they said they scored on him. So that's something to say about him. But Sauce Gardner, he's 22 years old. His first year, to me, he's already the best corner in the NFL. He locked down everybody that was put on him. One of the best corners in the NFL. There's a reason he was drafted number 4 in this draft. He had the size and everything. He had the potential, and he showed it on the field. He produced as well. I think he has the potential to even be better than Darrelle Revis. The potential. I'm not saying he is, but he has the potential to be better than him. So I think the Jets found another great cornerback in Sauce Gardner. And number 6, I have Myles Garrett, the Cleveland Browns edge rusher. He had another fantastic year. The Browns defense in the whole was disappointing, but not for him. He's only 27 years old. Still, he might be the 3rd best edge rusher, 4th if you want to say. He had 16 sacks this year, tied 2nd in the NFL, 2 forced fumbles. Yeah, Myles Garrett's still one of the top defenders in the NFL, obviously. And then 8, I have I don't know if this is going to be a little surprising to you, but I have Penei Sewell, the Lions left tackle. He was an All-Pro again this year, All-Pro in his rookie season. I believe he's only 23 years old or 22 years old. He's even younger than Andrew Thomas, and he could be better than Andrew Thomas as well. But Andrew Thomas is still, to me, he's better. He's already made an All-Pro. Penei Sewell has not. But Penei Sewell has shown he was drafted top 10 pick, top 7 pick for a reason. He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL already, such a young age. It's rare when you see this type of guy be that good. And then 9, I got the guy from Miami, Tyreek Hill. Earlier in this season, when the Dolphins offense was getting on a roll, he was unguardable. Nobody could guard him. He was on pace to break Calvin's record, and he was on pace to break it by a lot. But after Tua fell off injury, and then that 49ers game, the Dolphins really fell off after that game. That game was that was tough. But Tyreek Hill is one of the most unguardable players in the NFL. Super fast, probably the fastest player. Football speed-wise, he's the fastest player in the NFL. Really, really, really good. He can also return for you if you really need. If you want a guy to be an electric returner as well, he can do that for you. And he's a little on the older side. He's 28, but he's still one of the best wideouts in the NFL. Unguardable, in my opinion. And my last guy, number 10, T.J. Watts. I actually believe T.J. Watts is probably the third best edge rusher, only behind Micah and Nick Bosa. Only reason I put him this low on this list is because he has dealt with some injuries. He missed most of this year. He's already about to be 30. That's the only reason I put him at 10. But to me, it's not bad to be 10 on the most valuable players. On the most valuable player list, it's not bad to be 10. Still not. That means you're one of the 10 best players in football other than the quarterbacks. So yeah, but T.J. Watt's 10 on my list. He's the last guy on my list.
All right. One question I got about yours is you left out running backs. You didn't put a single running back on your list. Is there like a specific reason for that, or you just don't think any of the running backs are better than the guys that you just named? More valuable, at least.
Well, I don't think, to me, running back's not really a valuable position. If you look at all the Super Bowl winners too, Super Bowl winners have had a cheap option at running back the last couple of years. So only one, there's really not an outlier to that. Mostly everybody that wins is cheap, and also I think you can get a cheap running back and just do fine. And I also think everybody on my list is more valuable than the running backs as well.
All right, that's cool. Also, no Aaron Donald. Is it because he's too old, or?
Yeah, to me, he's just too old.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
that's really the reason why.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, we got two different lists or whatever. I feel like they both make a lot of sense though for what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for watching the third episode of the Playmaker Pod. Please like and subscribe. Like, really like and subscribe. Please really like the video. Please, that's really gonna help the algorithm and show our video
you don't
to other
gotta
people.
Beg.
Yeah,
you don't gotta beg.
Really
I mean, if you want to like and subscribe.
No. We need this like don't let them if they have to like and subscribe, man.
Oh, okay.
They have to have
like and subscribe.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.